And good evening to everyone. Good evening to everyone. Welcome to episode 7. Yes, episode 7. I made it this far. Welcome to the podcast you didn't know that you needed. I am your host, Robert R. Holiday, and this is my podcast. I have something to say. Let's talk. And some of you who've been on this journey with me, you know, we talk about the diversity of subjects and things. And listen, I appreciate your feedback. I thank you for the comments and all the time because different people watch at different times. I don't always have time to get on and get every comment or reply to them. But I sure would welcome your email about this subject or anything else we've talked about or something that you would like to hear me pontificate about. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, you see it across the screen or on my Facebook platform. I have something to say. Let's talk. Listen, go out to my YouTube page, Robert R. Holiday, subscribe, or if you're on social media on Facebook, go to my page. I have something to say. Let's talk. And if those options fail you, subscribe to the same thing on Podbean. My email that I mentioned is rrhpodcast, the character one, at gmail.com. Again, rrhpodcast, the character one, at gmail.com. Listen, I said we are at episode 7, and I am so grateful for those of you who've been following. Listen, let somebody know. I appreciate all of you, those who share when you see the post, go up on social media. Listen, but share the podcast. Don't just don't lurk. Those of you who lurk, and some of you know who I'm talking to, don't just be lurkers, but become part of it, become active, become part of this community. Let somebody know that I am out here. Okay, so my topic on tonight, should Christians have friends? And I know you may say, well, Holiday, that's dumb. Why shouldn't we have friends? Thank you for asking the question. I have been hearing a lot throughout the years of being in church. And I'm, let's see, this would be year 44. And I have heard, and I also hear this in the Black community a lot. So if we want to marry those two together, if we want to just say the Black church, but let's deal with the Black Christian church. People celebrate the fact that they don't have a lot of friends. They celebrate the fact that my circle is small, and we propagate this thing of mistrust. We now have social media. We put these things on social media. We pepper our sermons with it. We raise up other people with it. Keep your circle small. And what it is that we're breeding mistrust. We're teaching generations on how to mistrust. And because you say, well, Robert, you don't understand how people have handled me. I understand that. I have to ask you the question, do you understand how you may have handled people? Because those of us who cry the most, our hands may be the dirtiest. So the Bible tells us, I believe in Proverbs and maybe 1824 around there, 1825, a man that will have, I'm paraphrasing, that will have friends must show himself friendly. And there is a friend that stick closer than a brother. If we really look at the teachings of Jesus and we look at even the teachings of the apostles, they taught on being on one accord. They taught about the value of unity, having all things in common. Now, so nobody will misquote me. I'm going to put it out here plain. It doesn't mean that you're going to be best friends with everybody. I'm going to use an analogy I've been using for years. There are some people that you'll kick it with, and those are your Applebee buddies. Applebee's, man, look, you can be in and out of Applebee's in 45 minutes, man. Get you 2 for 24, get your little side thing, get a little bang bang shrimp or whatever they got. Get your 2 for 24 and you out of there. Then you got people that you may go, let's say Gibson's or with a Morton Steakhouse or someplace like that, or someplace of opulence where they are bringing you a course at a time, and you are the whole, meal is an experience. There's going to take time. Those are the people you're eating with, and there is an investment in that. And relationships can be the same way. There are some people, yes, that you will have seasonal relationship with, but you have to make sure that you know and they know that it is a seasonal relationship. There are some people that if both parties are cool with it, that you're going to have transactional relationships. You may be friendly with. Let's say if you was going for a mortgage or something like that, and there may be somebody that you're friendly with, and the transaction is that they're the lender, you're the borrower, and you all are coming together. You get along. You know enough about each other, say hi in the street or whatever, but you're not over each other's house for dinner. That's a transactional relationship. Let's take it to the church. There may be someone in this position that has something that you need. You know that you're going to them for a service. They know that. They gladly do that. You're not phony kicking it with one another. But then there are people that you grow with, and the relationship develops organically. I believe one of the reasons why we have so much hurt is because we trauma bond. And then we feel like when we find out that the only thing that we had in common with that person is our pain, and one person moves on to become healed, and that person is not trafficking in the other person's pain, now we can say that they dropped me, and we add this to our list of grievances. Now, I'm not telling you no one has ever done you wrong. Yes, someone has, and you've done somebody else wrong. I've been done wrong. I've done people wrong. This is just the fact of the matter. This is just how it is if we're going to keep it a buck. But we have to understand that the part of the teachings of Christ is love. In order to love and have love, you have to be able to draw people to you. And drawing people to you is being magnanimous and being charismatic and not being phony about what it is that you're doing, but organically growing and understand that we may disagree. I believe it was I think it was Paul and John, I believe. Please forgive me if I'm wrong about this, who had to separate because they were not getting along, but they were able to come back together. Sometimes you may have to separate for seasons until both grow, until both understand one another. But the issue that becomes with so many things in this world is that we have a lack of communication. Now, let me pause right here to say this. I'm sorry that this won't be on Podbean. For some reason, it keeps stopping, and I'm not going to keep messing with it. We're just going to go on these platforms right here. So I am working to try to get some things better, but it keeps stopping. So we'll shut that down. But so if we grow organically and we learn to communicate with one another instead of talking at each other or having to have be at the top of the paradigm in the relationship. Stop having self-fulfilling prophecies and saying what we're using as discernment. May I challenge you? A lot of what you're saying is discernment. It is your own projection based upon because they did something to remind you of the last three people that you have fallen out with. It is the will of God that we have relationships with one another, because if we don't have genuine relationships, how can we grow the kingdom of God? You can't have your little fiefdoms to your own self, but you must be willing to take what's inside of you and to hook it up with someone else. Not just have relationships based upon titles, not just have relationships. And let me just bust this paradigm here. And if, excuse me, somebody disagree with me, hey, listen, we can talk it out. Whatever you want to do, email me. But a lot of people feel like because I am the at the top of the pyramid, I'm the pastor, I'm the leader, bishop, apostle, whatever you want to be, that you cannot have impactful, meaningful relationship with people in the pews. That's a misnomer, because there are people who are in the pews who are qualified, people in the pews who are genuine, people in the pews who are anointed, people in the pews who are friendly and loving. They just don't have your title, because if you practice this, then you are practice classism and elitism. Hear what I'm saying? If you're practicing that everyone must be at your ecclesiastical level, you're practicing classism and elitism. Well, they don't understand. Listen, everybody's not going to understand everything about you, but you are missing out on the potential of having gold in your life, and you're mining for pyridium. Pyridium is fool's gold. So you're over in areas mining for something that is not meant for you, and maybe the organic relationship is in the pews. But we have this broad view, or this narrow view of what things should be like. and we cry and moan to God. We cry and moan to other people. We cry and moan, and we put proclamations upon social media. And it's because we do not know how to love. We do not know how to be friendly. We don't know how to be, and watch this, you finna think I'm cursing at you. We don't know how not to be guarded. Yes. We have to be able to let our walls down. I use this analogy. It might have been when I was preaching on someone else's platform, that we have built up walls around us. Walls denote strongholds. And so if we look at, let's take it to the political arena, or the worldview, I should say. We have a border set up with Canada, Mexico, and things like that. And they have to present proper documentation to get into this country, and vice versa. The former president wants to build a wall to keep everything from getting in. There's a difference between walls and borders. With borders, there is things by permission, and you have to give yourself permission. You have to give other people permission to be able to be friends into your life. You can't just say, oh, I feel the connectivity with this person, start speaking in tongues, and say the Lord has hooked us up, and you know nothing about each other besides the testimony, besides the pain, besides the euphoria of the words that someone has said. You must take the time to be vulnerable, to allow people, and take the chance that your heart may be broken. But here's the other great thing. There's a chance that your heart may be healed and that you may become whole. You have to stop being a cocoon. Here's a little test to decide whether I'm friendly in church or not, and with the body of Christ. I come when I think it's about time for the word, because I don't want to be with the people during the time of praise or devotion. I just want to get the word and get out. I don't want a fellowship. This is a spiritual problem and possibly a psychological problem. And we also dealing with a philosophical problem. We have to be willing to let God heal us, and he'll heal us through people. We are required to have friends. One of the Bishop William Anthony Ellis, I was privileged to serve him for over a little over 3 years. And I saw this man, to me, he almost kind of had like the Roy Rogers, I believe it was, effect, whoever it was, who said that he didn't meet a man who was not a friend. He felt like everybody, and he wasn't naive or anything like that, but he was friendly to people, and he understood the power of loving people and the power of having friends, and not just friends in high places. See, you can't go into trying to have relationships and just establish what do you think is a high place. Some people are in places and they are not really steady and situated, and it's the person who you think is not steady and situated will be the foundation. But you can't go in with these preconceived notions. You can't go in with an agenda, but you have to go in with the heart of God, and with that, I have something they need, they have something I need. A sign of a good friendship inside the kingdom. You don't have to address each other by brothers and sisters. I know we do this in the Black church because it is a sign of respect, that you respect my position, you respect my authority. Some of the people that I have the greatest relationship with, and we serve God together, not just necessarily at my church, Real Rock, but we serve in the kingdom together, and we know each other by name, and we are learning of each other intimately. You have to be willing to learn of one another intimately. You have to drop this pretense, this facade. You have to be willing to say, I might not like what they did there, but that part isn't for me. And you have to be willing to even have hard conversations. And you have to stop being ready to just rebuke everybody or take an offensive at everything. It takes more muscles to frown than it do to smile. And we have to stop, move past this. I'm just blessed and highly favored, because real friends can tell the other one how they feel, and they will be there to undergird each other and pick each other up. So all of this, well, my circle is small, and I only trust you're not trustworthy then. I hate to break the no, I hate to break the news. So you don't even let me lie. But you have to be willing to do these things in order to move past. The only reason why your circle should be small is because you're in your 80s and 90s and your friends have died off. But he said, comma, you have to be willing to move beyond generations as well, and to develop some things, and to develop and stretch the boundaries of who you are, because real friends are willing to go and put skin in the game with each other. We are called to have friends. We are called to be friendly. We are called not to just be mean. We are called to have friends outside of our class, what we think is our class. It is not the will of God to be elitist. It is not the will of God to try to be a psychic and read people. But you need to get to know people and understand, just like you have a wall up, some people may be walled in. But a real friend say, I'm going to help you break that, and you're going to help me break mine. So when you hear the preacher say, it's only 3 people I trust, maybe your hackles need to go up. But if the preacher say, it's only 3 people I trust, but I'm working on that. I'm working on knowing how to be more friendly. Because here's the truth of the matter. The majority of the time, the problem is me. And it's how I presented myself. One of the greatest things I did in my life, and I'm going to get ready to get out of here, is that I acknowledged my idiosyncratic ways. And I understood that Robert R. Holiday sometimes can be a hard person to know because I'm an introvert. Sometimes I have social awkwardness. I could be in a room full of people and I could be by myself. So as I said on one of the prior episodes, I went out of my way to have a conversation with a stranger as we waited for food. And it was an enjoyable conversation. And man, this person, in that 20 minutes that we waited for food, we had great dialogue and we shook hands with genuineness and thanked one another. So whereas we may have looked at each other from the beginning and had a value judgment, just through the dialogue and conversation, we was able to see that, we had more in common than we thought. So I challenge you, people of the living God, you need to be more relational. You shouldn't go to a church and don't know nobody. You shouldn't hide behind, well, I'm busy, or I'm packing equipment, or I'm doing this and doing that. That stuff can sit there. Go fellowship with somebody. Wipe your hands on your pants, your skirt, or whatever. Get the sweat off of them. Go shake somebody's hand. I need you to take time between now and Sunday to go into the mirror every day and smile at least 10 times. Practice it. Get your breathing under control. Stop letting your intrusive thoughts be what you think God is saying. Did he say that? He did. Because have you ever noticed that when it's something bad, that the voice of God that speaks from his spirit to yours sound like your voice? And that's a whole nother episode. Listen, I appreciate those of you who are tuned in. Like, holler back at me. Email me once again at rrholiday. RRH podcast #1 at gmail.com. RRH podcast, the #1 at gmail.com. Go out to my YouTube page. Excuse me, Robert R. Holiday. Subscribe. Tell somebody about it. Share this podcast. Go to my Facebook page. I have something to say. Let's talk. Again, it's been my pleasure to be with you. This is the podcast you didn't know that you need. But since you're here, I hope that you're enjoying it. You all be blessed. I'm going to see you again in 2 weeks. Talk to you. Be safe over the holiday. Much love.